Well, I guess we gotta start somewhere. Hi, you know who I am. Buck Race 1 was truly the start of something great. And for the story video, for the first story video in the series, I was voted to have my story told with 67% of the votes. I'm honored. It's so cool that you guys want to hear about my flop season. For context, this was my first season and my first time being eliminated, obviously. To dig this thing out? Not really. It was incredibly easy to find. I've cherished this. I really have. But this is my third place prize from the original Buck Race. This is the medal I got. 6 years ago I got this from the first ever Buck Race. It's a nice reminder of how all this started. It's a nice reminder of my failure. I'm gonna wear this. I'm gonna wear this for the whole time I'm talking about my story. Okay, to get us started, I tried digging up Buck Race 1 Facebook posts since the emails are long gone, and I had no luck, but I tried. I tried. So I'll just use this graphic that I made for the rivalries video when I get into the storylines. In 2018, in 2018, Hunter created the first ever Hunter Bucks in robotics class with Freddy. I was not there, however, and this story is about me, naturally. He showed me that Hunter Buck later that day. Eventually, Hunter got the idea to change the world and create an entire corporation around the Hunter Bucks brand. At the center of this company, a series of challenges that went on to become the Buck Race. I was the second person recruited into the race after Freddy agreed right away. I had no idea what this would become. So we start the race, and one thing becomes immediately clear. Some people, Freddy, may have a tiny bit of an advantage. Hunter would send the trivia questions and challenges through the school email on his Chromebook. He did this every morning in robotics class. The same very class that Freddy was also in. Not only was Freddy in that class, he was Hunter's robotics partner. This isn't to say Freddy didn't have to try because he devoted the effort into this Buck Race. But people like me and Noah had a little bit of a rough start. Gotta remember to put the microphone on. Despite all this, Noah was doing pretty well for himself. There came a point very early on where it was clear who the frontrunners were going to be. And it was my job to keep them from ganging up on me and Amando. If I could keep Freddy and Noah in a war with each other, I could have a shot. I didn't need to do any of that because they weren't just enemies naturally. So, score one for laziness. I was personally trying to help Noah out, and for a while Freddy wasn't in first, but about halfway through the Buck Race, not only did Freddy take the top spot back, but Hunter brought in a new contestant. Someone who would get on my nerves for the next 4 Buck Races. Cameron had figured out about Buck Race through me and was able to join halfway through. Now my immediate response to this was, why must everything be ruined? But within a few days, Cameron actually managed to prove me completely right. With such a late entry, Cameron really did not have enough time to win. But he did have enough time to get on my damn nerves. In a way that only Cameron can. By the time we get to the finals, we still have 2 frontrunners, and neither of them were me. One thing I had that Cameron and Amando didn't, however, was delusional hope. I had made it to the top 3, but unfortunately, I had to turn on Noah, since Freddy was basically locked into that top 2. You know, I wish I could say it was a well-fought battle, but some things are just predictable, aren't they? So what did I miss out on? The prizes for Buck Race 1 were probably the ones with the most thought put into them. I have this image right here of the Buck Race 1 prizes. Freddy won the framed Hunter Buck with a gold medal attached to it and trophy, while Noah won the unframed buck and the trophy and a silver medal. And this is what 3rd place got me. Just this little bronze medal here. Nothing too special, but I earned it. And now you know the beginnings of a legend. Why do you guys do this to me? So for our Buck Race 2 story, with 83% of the vote, Connor. Sure, why not? For context, this was Connor's first and only season, and he never played in a single elimination challenge. Buck Race 2 brought in 3 new players, and one of them was Connor. Connor was recruited by me when Hunter was building the Hunter Bucks website.
Connor wanted to be involved and was in charge of posting memes onto the memes page in the website. And just like that, he was in. Now, I don't think he ever joined the Facebook group because, well, I don't think he's ever had Facebook. So I don't have any screenshots of him specifically. Second story in a row, I have zero proof of what I'm about to say. Now, Connor started Buck Race 2 in a pretty good spot compared to the other players that weren't me or Cameron. Although he never won a challenge, he was consistently getting second place finishes and posing as the only real threat to me and Cameron. While other players in the race were fighting each other on Facebook, Connor was more dead set on coming for me and Cameron. Since he was more my friend, he was more competitive towards me initially. So I knew I had to do something about that. Cameron is annoying. So let me set the stage. Connor is a very clear opposition to the Cameron domination, and also he's a huge threat to me. By the halfway point of the race, he's been getting a bunch of $100 without ever actually winning a challenge through second place finishes and such. That is until Cameron spammed everyone's school email, which made it harder for people to compete. Apparently Connor didn't have him blocked. Big mistake, by the way. Connor's response to this was one of frustration. He was very angry towards Cameron, much like everyone else was. So I played into that. Being Connor's friend at the time, I always fueled that fire against Cameron, and as much as I want to claim this was strategy, and me wanting to trick one of my biggest threats into disqualifying himself, I was just being annoying. Like there was no plan, no strategy in that at all. I didn't know what a strategy was at the time. I was a young lad. I was just trying to instigate fights. Sue me. Eventually, Connor was taken out of the race due to the rising tension that culminated. He still continued to make memes for the website until we ditched that website for a new one. It's insane. And now, with 86% of the vote, what am I even going to say about her? It's Iris. We have an Iris story for Buck Race 3. Now, this is the first story where I can actually talk to the person and get some insight. And this was the result of that insight. This was Iris's first season, and also first time losing an elimination challenge, only competing in the one that she lost, obviously, as she finished in last place. So, Iris. I will say, I did find some Facebook screenshots that mentioned her, but it was always, oh, she's in last place. But you know what? I'm not going to make this story boring. Iris deserves better. Our journey begins when Iris was brought into the race. Also by me. I brought a lot of people into this. Iris, as previously mentioned, had no clue what was going on in the challenges. But she did at least beat James in one of them early on. Small victories, folks. It didn't earn her any $100 though. In terms of the Josh versus Cameron rivalry, she was more on Cameron's side, and by that I mean being used by Cameron for extra $100. She was more so figuring things out in Buck Race, which is a very polite way of putting it. Then we get into her elimination in the Buck scavenger hunt, which Cameron was so close to losing. I tried my hardest to make that happen, but Iris took the loss instead, putting an end to her starting season, which is still her single highest episode count for a season, and the only time she made it to the finals day eliminations. Yep. So that was the original Trilogy video. Not much of a video, but what can I do? These things happened 6 years ago. I will have a lot more to say about future story videos, so stay tuned and stay ready for Buck Race story videos.